Imagine a world where life was completely annihilated, not once, but twice. A planet scorched, oceans boiled, and the very air poisoned beyond recognition. What if I told you Earth has endured such apocalypses and not only survived, but thrived again, in ways that defy everything we thought we knew about planetary resilience? How could life claw its way back from total oblivion, creating a biosphere that shouldn't, by all scientific accounts, even exist? To understand this profound mystery, we need to journey back, far beyond the age of dinosaurs, to a time when Earth was barely a fledgling planet. Picture the Hadean Eon, over 4 billion years ago. This wasn't the blue marble we know. It was a hellscape, a molten caldera under constant bombardment. Asteroids the size of small moons slammed into its surface, vaporizing rock, creating impact craters hundreds of miles wide, and shrouding the entire world in a perpetual cloud of superheated dust and steam. The atmosphere itself was a noxious cocktail of volcanic gases, devoid of free oxygen. Any nascent oceans would have boiled away, only to condense and form again, a terrifying cycle of creation and destruction. Scientists call this period the late heavy bombardment, and it was so intense, so utterly devastating that it should have sterilized the planet completely. The energy released by these impacts was unfathomable, capable of melting the entire crust. For billions of years, this ordeal continued. Yet against all odds, geological evidence suggests something incredible. Life, in some primitive form, might have emerged and persisted even through this fiery crucible, perhaps deep within hydrothermal vents, shielded from the surface cataclysm. But even if it did, what happened next tested its limits like never before, hinting at an almost supernatural ability for resurgence that we still struggle to comprehend. The early life that clung to existence faced another, equally existential threat that fundamentally reshaped the planet. Around 2.4 billion years ago, something utterly transformative began. An event so profound it's known as the Great Oxidation Event. Tiny microscopic organisms, the cyanobacteria, started producing oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Sounds harmless, even beneficial, right? Think again. For the anaerobic life forms that dominated Earth at the time, oxygen was a deadly poison. It was a mass extinction event on an unprecedented scale, literally a global biocidal catastrophe. The rampant release of oxygen reacted with iron in the oceans, forming vast rust deposits, but it also stripped methane, a potent greenhouse gas, from the atmosphere. This caused a calamitous global cooling. The planet plunged into an icy embrace, known as the snowball Earth periods. For millions of years, Earth was encased in ice, stretching from pole to pole, often several kilometers thick. Sunlight largely reflected back into space, perpetuating the deep freeze. Liquid water, if it existed at all, was confined to tiny isolated pockets, perhaps around volcanic vents. Temperatures plummeted to unimaginably low levels. How did any life survive this frozen oblivion? The prevailing theory suggests some hardy microbes found refuge in fissures warmed by geothermal activity or in microscopic, unfrozen briny pockets within the ice layers themselves. Yet when the planet finally thawed, life didn't just re-emerge. It diversified, adapted, and began to flourish. This wasn't just survival, it was a reboot, a radical transformation that set the stage for all complex life that followed. It's as if Earth possesses an innate, powerful mechanism for resurrection, pushing past thermodynamic limits and biological bottlenecks. But the greatest test, a near-total sterilization event, was still to come. An extinction so complete it leaves scientists scratching their heads about how anything, let alone everything, came back. The true crescendo of Earth's relentless rebirths, the most terrifying and mystifying, was the Permian-Triassic extinction event, approximately 252 million years ago. Imagine a catastrophe so absolute, so devastating, that it obliterated over 90% of all marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrate species. This wasn't just a bad day for biodiversity, it was the closest Earth has ever come to becoming a sterile, lifeless rock since the Hadean Eon. Known colloquially as the Great Dying, its cause is primarily attributed to a massive outpouring of volcanic activity in what is now modern-day Siberia, the Siberian Traps. For a million years, vast quantities of lava erupted, blanketing an area larger than Western Europe. This wasn't just about lava flows, it was about the toxic gases released, colossal amounts of carbon dioxide, methane, and sulfur dioxide. These emissions triggered a cascade of environmental collapses. Global temperatures soared by as much as 10 degrees Celsius, leading to widespread anoxia, lack of oxygen, in the oceans. The oceans themselves turned acidic, dissolving the shells of marine organisms. On land, acid rain stripped forests bare, turning verdant landscapes into barren wastelands. The air became thick with toxic fumes, the sun a mere blood-red smear through the perpetual haze. Life, both great and small, suffocated, starved, and dissolved. Fossil records from the period paint a grim picture. Vast tracts of sedimentary rock where life abruptly vanishes, replaced by fungal spikes thriving on decaying matter. It was a prolonged, agonizing planetary death. The recovery should have taken tens of millions of years, perhaps even hundreds. Ecosystems were shattered, food chains obliterated, and the very conditions necessary for complex life were erased. Yet against every logical prediction, life bounced back with astonishing speed. Within a few million years, a blink of an eye in geological terms, new species emerged, diversified, and radiated, eventually leading to the age of the dinosaurs. How? How could a planet so thoroughly ravaged, so utterly reset, find the energy and the biological blueprint to not just recover, but to evolve into something entirely new and complex so rapidly? This almost defies the known mechanics of evolution and environmental recovery. The sheer magnitude of the recovery, the swiftness with which life reclaimed the ravaged planet, remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in Earth history. It hints at an underlying robustness, an almost paradoxical resilience, that suggests life itself is not merely a passenger on Earth, but an integral, self-renewing force, capable of overcoming even the most existential threats. From the hellfire of the Hadean to the suffocating chill of the snowball Earths, and finally, through the near-total sterilization of the Great Dying, Earth has repeatedly demonstrated an almost inexplicable ability to press the reset button on life. Each time, it wasn't just about survival, it was about rebirth, a radical transformation that led to increasingly complex and diverse ecosystems. We've seen oceans boil and freeze solid, atmospheres poison and transform, yet life adapts, finds a way, and flourishes anew. This isn't just a testament to the tenacity of individual organisms. It speaks to something fundamental about our planet and the processes that govern life itself. Is there an inherent mechanism, a planetary system of self-correction or regeneration that we are only beginning to glimpse? The fact that Earth has not only rebuilt itself, but has become more biodiverse after each cataclysm raises profound questions about the nature of survival, evolution, and the very definition of a habitable planet. Perhaps this extraordinary resilience isn't an anomaly, but rather a fundamental characteristic of life, one that we are only now fully appreciating. To this day, the complete mechanisms behind Earth's multiple rebirths remain shrouded in mystery, a testament to the planet's enduring, almost miraculous capacity for renewal. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the bizarre possibility of life existing within the very rocks of our planet's mantle. Until then, ponder the impossible tenacity of life and the planet that refuses to die.